and the ash. This is like the song that the people on Trash Island sing as they shovel garbage into volcanoes.
Yeah.
We're wondering why aren't we putting trash into volcanoes?
Because it becomes magma.
But that's what you want.
And I'm sure I'm not seeing like a negative side effect from
we want lava. We want the Earth runs on
It's
lava.
mostly lava. Yeah.
Like the way the radar runs on blood.
Like the way Boston
Exactly.
runs on Duncan.
I thought you were gonna say Boston runs on racism.
That too. It's
Well, I thought you were
unspoken.
saying Boston doesn't run anymore because of that whole marathon.
Because of all the Duncan. Yeah, I guess it would turn into, first of all, the trash is going to turn into trash lava, which is just poisonous lava, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
also
lava doesn't need another thing it can do to you.
the smoke, the horrible smoke.
Oh, it produced that black smoke tire fire that Springfield's so known for.
Also, people would get killed, I think. I think we would ultimately see a lot more people falling into volcanoes, whereas at this point, I think we've got it down under 100 a year.
Yeah, it's only a handful.
A handful. And most of them wanted to go. Most of them are like, yes, for the glory of the Kano.
Yep. Sacrificial virgins and what have you,
Etc.
chosen
cetera.
peoples.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name's Jordan, the Volcano Doll.
Oh.
I am Nate, the Incinerator Balding.
Nice.
And I'm Roger, the Magma Man, Norquist.
Nice. Damn, we're coming in hot, literally. Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroco Scullavision, a new streaming service with all of your favorite television shows, except with the skulls showing. Scullavision from Monstroco. What the fuck? So it's like you can watch. It's just most shows. They don't have like Seinfeld or like SNL stuff that isn't like hard to get the rights for.
They really only have shows that are recorded with Scullavision.
With Scullavision, that does help. But yeah, it's all your favorite shows.
Kind of like
just
a 3D situation where
the skulls
you can make
showing.
something 3D, but
right.
really if it's shot in
right
Scullavision.
And it's like,
going to look better.
It's good. The product works. First of all, Monstroco does great stuff. But I'll say this: you only need to see Mayor of Easttown Skull for like one episode. You get the point. The gnashing and the eye, the rolling of the eye it's harrowing, but it's a great product. Again,
that being said, Mad TV, 1,000 times better.
So much better. It's crazy. The news, oh my god, unbelievable. It's wonderful. Scullavision from Monstroco. What the fuck? How are you guys? Are you guys hydrated?
I'm hydrated. I'm drinking a hint.
I'll know if you're not.
I can't. Well, it's there. You can't see it in the void.
Oh,
there
I
we
can
go.
see it now. Hint, the watermelon flavor.
I can't drink Topo Chico because I got my tooth pulled by not a dentist per se, but a witch looking for teeth of unusual size for a spell. And I was like, this one's bothering me. You can have mine.
Huge. You had one huge tooth that you needed to get pulled out.
Yeah, because it kept growing. It was becoming a tooth boy.
Truth.
Anyway, I'm better.
Scary. I've seen Channel Zero. You've stopped the Zencaster.
I don't know what happened there.
Weird. It doesn't matter. We'll just go with the Zoom. Anyway.
All right.
Oh, okay. Anyway, let me make sure that my there it is. Okay, I still have the right microphone over here.
We're having the funnest technical issues this episode, everyone. I got home from moving, and then it turns out
Roger's dad decided to
fix.
Modem.
Yeah, pretty much decided to fix he got a new modem for his house and decided to use snips to install it. And I was like, that's not what you do.
Dad style.
Yeah, he went total dad style. It was great. I love him.
Dad style.
I was assuming he looked on Facebook or some shit and thought that he could battle Vladimir Putin directly by destroying the internet in his house.
First of all, someone's got to do it. I'm not doing it. Anyway, how's your guys' week?
Become digital construct. The being you knew as Putin is no longer here. I am hot local singles in your area. That's gonna be the name of all the digital entities we're slowly giving birth to in this weird age.
No, you gotta give something. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I was about to go. Listen. I want to talk to you guys about something that's been on my mind.
Okay. Jordan, I said I loved you because of reasons, and you don't have to do anything about it.
I said because of alcohol and anger. It's Lenny. Rock solid Lenny. Dark Watchers. What do you know about the Dark Watchers? When I say the phrase Dark Watcher to you, what does it evoke?
Invokes the type of image of someone behind the scenes, kind of like Adjustment Bureau style, like man behind a secret door, adjusting life. Sure, I might be reading into much of it as I just read the Adjustment Bureau, but that's what I'm thinking.
Pretty fun. It's a pretty fun idea. Nate, would you like to?
Well, I mean, every time someone says Watcher, I just end up in a weird Buffy spiral.
Sure.
So I'm just thinking about Anthony Head being a fucking hot ass kid in England.
Well, it was none of those things. The Dark Watchers, also known to early Spanish settlers as Los Vigilantes Oscuros, is a name given to a group of entities in California folklore, man.
Okay.
Purportedly seen observing travelers along the Santa Lucia Mountains. They have also been spotted in some areas of Wisconsin and Illinois, such as Milwaukee. And police reports have been made in the town of Kenosha, but were suspended since no actual proof.
That's very excellent. The two places they're at are like either Surf's Up West Coast or Kenosha.
This is true. Description. The Dark Watchers are described as tall, sometimes giant-sized, featureless, dark silhouettes, often adorned with brimmed hats or walking sticks.
These hat men.
Oh, wait, I maybe have heard of these things. They're like scary phantom shadow things, yeah?
They are most often reported to be seen in the hours around twilight and dawn. They are said to be motionlessly watching travelers from the horizon along the Santa Lucia mountain range. According to legend, no one has seen one up close, and if someone were to approach them, they disappear.
Cowards. Say hello to us. Shake our hands.
Let me see your hat.
Well,
can I buy that hat somewhere local?
They're not the dark talkers. That's true.
It's in the name, people.
You're looking
I feel
for
stupid now.
A different scary monster. Let me ask you guys, if you were to, a Dark Watcher is watching you as you hike.
Yes.
And you actually are able to walk up to them and say something to them. What would you say?
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a good question that I was not ready for.
Okay, Roger's going to say Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yep. Jesus Christ.
And I will not be hiking.
You'll not be hiking. Okay,
this doesn't apply to Nate. Not equitable.
Okay, all right. I would probably say, what do you want? And they'd be like, some of that Cliff Bar. And I'd be like, nah.
No.
History. While sometimes attributed to the Chumash people, who historically inhabited the central and southern coastal regions of California, nothing analogous to the legend appears to exist in their mythology.
That's unusual then.
It is unusual.
You know what's kind of funny? There's actually a Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chumash connection.
Interesting. Tell us.
And that's even weirder.
There's an episode where Xander gets possessed by a Chumash spirit at one point.
Sure.
He gets an STI from it.
Is that true?
Yep.
Yikes. Okay. So when Spanish settlers first moved into the area, they were said to have witnessed the Dark Watchers, whom they dubbed Los Vigilantes Oscuros. Or it may be Vigilantes.
Yeah, Vigilantes.
Los Vigilantes Oscuros. Which means the Hidden Watchers, I guess. The Dark Watchers are most famously given a brief mention in John Steinbeck's Flight, included in the 1938 collection of his short stories, The Long Valley. I will now read this excerpt.
Ooh. Don't say we never gave you Steinbeck, anyone.
Pepe looked suspiciously back every minute or so, and his eyes sought the tops of the ridges ahead. Once, on a white barren spur, he saw a black figure for a moment, but he looked away quickly, for it was one of the Dark Watchers. No one knew who the Watchers were, nor where they lived, but it was better to ignore them and never show interest in them. They did not bother one who stayed on the trail and minded his own business.
Beautiful.
Along with this,
feels dusty.
Along with this, Watchers are also referenced by poet Robinson Jeffers in the titular poem of his 1937 collection, Such Counsels You Gave to Me, and Other Poems. I will now read this excerpt. He thought it might be one of the Watchers, who are often seen in this length of coast range, forms that look human to the eyes, but certainly are not human. They come from behind ridges to watch, but when he approached it, he recognized the shabby clothes and pale hair, and even the averted forehead and concave line from the eye to the jaw, so that he was not surprised when the figure turning toward him in the quiet twilight showed his own face. Then it melted and merged into the shadows beyond it.
Damn, that's the description.
Pretty spooky.
Kind of like a Bigfootish creature.
Disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared before much else.
John Steinbeck's son, Thomas Steinbeck, would grow up to report having seen the Dark Watchers during his childhood, and later, along with artist Benjamin Brode, collaborate on a book titled In Search of the Dark Watchers, where they go into the history of the legend and interview locals who claim to have seen them, such as famed Big Sur resident Billy Post. According to newspaper archives in the mid-1960s, a Monterey Peninsula local and former high school principal went hiking up in the Santa Lucias when he suddenly spotted a dark figure standing on a rock surveying the area. When the principal called out to the other hikers, the creature vanished. So there's a couple of explanations for what these things might be. The chief among them is something called a Brocken specter, which you may remember from our discussion of the Gray Man of Ben Machdui, also known as Amphir Lathmore.
Yeah.
Also considered to be maybe a Brocken specter. A Brocken specter, you're probably wondering, what the hell is that?
Indeed.
Okay, so like rainbows, and like sun moon dogs, and like stuff that can happen with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And makes you see crazy stuff. Brocken specter is one of those. It is also called a Brocken bow, a mountain specter, or specter of the Brocken. It is the magnified and apparently enormous shadow of an observer cast upon clouds opposite the sun's direction.
Which is actually, I think, more terrifying than it is just a bizarre mountain monster. It's just some guy watching you.
Yeah. Which it would be basically your own reflection being magnified by the atmosphere and projected onto clouds, more or less. Is what people are saying these things are.
But don't they generally cause like fear in people?
Yeah, kind of, but it's just a theory. The this kind of got me digging for vigilantes oscuros encounters, and it led me to a video, or to an article. Well, first of all, it did lead me to a video. We'll get to that later. It led me to the comment section of a YouTube video.
So after they stop saying racist things about the video,
right? Once they're done with it, they're like, they tell their stories. This is from Weird California, weirdcad.com. Dan of Arizona writes, back when I was a teenager, I used to go hiking in the desert and a mountain range where I lived 7 miles outside of Blythe, California. One afternoon, I went deeper into the mountain range than I had ever hiked before when I felt like I was being watched. The hairs on my arms stood up. I quickly started looking around, fearing a mountain lion was nearby. When I looked up towards the top of the mountain and saw a small cave-like opening at the top of the sheer wall. There, looking outwards the valley, I could see a hooded human figure. I could not see its face since it looked like it was covered by a thin veil, but the hood and the cloaks looked tattered and ripped. The figure made no movements. I turned around and started to walk back the way I came and never went back into that area of the mountain range. The area was not traveled since there were no dirt roads or tracks, so who knows what was up there. All I know is it was not human, and I've not been back ever since. This was back in the mid-90s.
I was going to call him a coward, and then I got these goosebumps, and then I went, oh, yeah. I'm scared.
Pretty spooky. This is from Michael from Thousand Oaks, California. I've camped a few times in the Santa Lucia range near to Cone Peak, right near the coast and the one. We were camping up on some of the coastal ridges there, overlooking the ocean, and definitely experienced some very strange energy. My first time up there, with the three of us, including myself, one person and myself both actually spotted one of the watchers high up on the ridge, partially obscured by low-flying clouds. Neither of us were familiar with them at this time and chalked it up to a tree. When we slept that night, we felt an indescribable discomfort and decided to keep driving north the next morning.
Yes, yeah. I feel like most of the encounters I've heard, people have this bizarre dread associated.
That does seem to be the first sign that you're being watchered, as it were. They've got these watchers have real pointy eyes. You really feel it. Today, this is anonymous out of Stockton, California. Today, my boyfriend and I were driving from Arroyo Grande to Stockton. About an hour outside of AG, we saw a dark human figure in the hills. It was several hundred yards away from the road and seemed to be trudging laboriously uphill in the 95-degree sun. Despite rubbernecking multiple times to try and get a better look, we could distinguish no identifying marks, no seams of clothing, no hint of shoes or anything. Just solid black walking up the hill under the burning afternoon sun. There was a small station with a tank and a satellite on the opposite side of the road. I wonder if we didn't see some strange ritual.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible. It might be some kind of ancient performance piece.
Who knows?
I would love it to be, though, where it's just very unique art being performed in front of our eyes.
Anonymous out of Ojai,
What's been
California.
going on since the Spanish arrived?
Yeah.
I was hiking up a remote trail up the 33 in Ojai. I was about an hour up the mountain, no people, no cars in sight. As I was hiking, I had this eerie feeling I was being watched. I look up the top of the mountain. I was a black figure. I waved jokingly, not really thinking the object was a person. It waved back, thinking I was maybe tripping or that it was a tree waving in the wind. I took a puff of my cigarette, only to see the figure blow out a plume of smoke as well. I started seeing it flowing, and I say flowing almost vertically. I ran like hell back to my car, spraining my knee in the process. Hilarious. Now that one sounds exactly
insane.
That one sounds exactly like a Brock and Spectre, though.
Yeah.
It would
but then it flows away.
Yeah,
I guess that's the weird part to me.
That is weird.
Sometimes that's how you leave, you know? It's when you have this much magical or scientific power, you leave like whatever wind gust you want to leave like.
Yeah. That's true. I'm a long distance runner. This is Joey from Silmar. I'm a long distance runner. Most of my training is up in the good old California mountains. I had a long run scheduled, so I headed toward Veterans Peak in the San Fernando Valley. Time of day was 2 p.m. I was running, and up in an area where no human could climb without gear, I saw a black figure in plain daylight. I've never seen anything like that up in the mountain. It was darker than dark, could not explain it. A year passed and today began January 24th. I saw it again in the exact same spot. Whoa. That was from January of 2016.
You gave me a lot of stuff, but this keeps sounding like I think it might be a real thing, not just like an illusion of light.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people in this comment section are asking what's the difference between a shadow person and a dark watcher. And the answer is we don't really know, although it seems that these dark watchers, they just watch. Shadow people, they'll yank you out of bed. They'll jump on you. They'll rat-a-tat-tat. They'll try to get you scared. You know? Right. They'll tap on that dome. This is from Jason out of Texas.
Jason.
I seen a dark figure about 7 foot tall in one of the mountains by Vernal, Utah. It was a late winter, lots of snow. The moon was full. The light reflected off the snow, so I had no problem seeing. I work nights for a Siamic company as a troubleshooter. I heard a crew member say on the radio that he seen Jeeper creep. He drop everything he had and run back to his truck. We thought that he was up too long without sleep. So they send me to his location to finish what he had to do while walking on top of the mountain to fix the problem. I seen it 20 feet in front of me. My heart start beating fast. I tried to run, but it was hard because of the snow. As I was running, it seemed to float on the snow. It moved really fast and start to circle me, then stop. All I had on me was a pocket knife. I pulled it out and started to pray to God to help me fight it. I started to run towards it. I got about 10 feet, and it started to move back fast. I lost sight of it in the dark. Never seen it face. It had a robe like the Reaper. Don't know what it was. Wow.
See, some of these like are they're seeing robe Reaper face here.
Yeah.
Kudos for you going after the Reaper though with the pocket knife.
Pretty spooky.
That's kind of insane also that, like, you know, at his job, someone was like, oh, Joey's too afraid of the immortal monster out there. You want to trudge on out and finish that job?
Of course I do, Joey, big pussy. Okay, this is from Kickboy Face of the Moreno Valley.
Nice name.
It's a credited writer. Interesting stuff. Many years ago, I was with a friend driving through a dirt field here in Moreno Valley near Alessandro, Old East Park, near what I believe were old abandoned barns that I always had heard were haunted. When my
I like
friend's
any
car
region
broke
where
down,
where the dirt's been organized into fields.
Sure. Sorry.
Sleepy time.
When my friend's car broke down, could have been a coincidence. It was a beat up Volkswagen, but it was dusk at best, and there was no way that we were going to make it out of the field before it was pitch black. And instead of chancing getting R-wordedly lost, geez, kick boy.
There's so many other words, but I like how you just forced it.
And or
why is he afraid of saying randomly?
I forced it because I wanted to talk about Kickboy Face's writing style. In the pitch black, we decided to sleep in the car and set out in the morning to get help / tow the car. It was way before the days of everyone having cell phones and quick help. As we were killing time in the pitch black now, we were hanging out inside and outside of the car, killing time, sharing smokes.
Nice.
And we started to distinctly see what looked like black shadows, evenly distributed, completely encircling us.
Ooh.
They did not move. They stayed motionless, but were of significant size based on the distance. I would say at least the size of a small car, like the bug we ourselves were in. Whatever these were seemed hunched over, perhaps kneeling. Time passed. They never moved. And though we walked around the car and got in and out of the car to see if what we were seeing was some sort of optical illusion, yet we couldn't explain or discredit what we were seeing. To this day, it racks my brain.
Yeah, this segment's making me go full goosebump.
I got 2 more for you. Ready?
Please.
It's from Los Brennan of Ramona, California. While flying my twin-engine Beechcraft on a southerly course and just 20 nautical miles north of Vandenberg AFB, I glanced toward the Santa Lucia Range just after sunset and saw what appeared to be 7 large, dark figures spaced evenly apart. They had an even spacing of about 1/4 of a mile. Crazy. This is the last one. This is from C. Gardner of June Lake, California. Up here in the Eastern Sierras, we see the Dark Watchers all the time. They are always out at dusk and dawn. All you see is just a tall, dark silhouette. They almost look like horses standing on their hind legs with the assistance of a walking stick. It's pretty creepy.
That's looking terrifying.
And nobody has ever seen them close up. They disappear the moment you try to get closer.
But we've seen some things. We got hairiness, robes, Grim Ripper face.
Walking sticks.
Walking sticks,
hats.
We have some description, but they do vanish. I mean, like all these stories are saying, the moment you get within like 5 feet striking distance.
Generally speaking, if you try to move towards them, they disappear.
Are they Odin from Valheim? Just like watching your
a little bit.
Watching your progress throughout the world they've created,
approving of our boats that we've built. We got to get back in there somehow.
Listen, we'll what's up? D&D break. We're back to Valheim. We got to beat that final boss I built a fucking tower apartment in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, when we play Valheim again, we can check out the tower I built overlooking the final boss.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But that's it for Los Vigilantes Oscuros. Pretty much the most that I could find. But people are seeing them and they're weird. Is it a Brock Inspector? Is it is it something else? Well, yeah. I mean, if it is a Brock Inspector, I would say that some of them probably are, but I would say also that, like, how does that explain somebody seeing 7 of them from a plane, or 2 people seeing however many of them surround their car?
But at night, right?
At night. It's spooky. Yeah. It's very
spooky. Yeah. It's black against black. Like even shadow people, I don't think show up that way.
They do. Or unless that one person in the Japanese forest on that Destination Truth was
I've heard that as a description for shadow people before. The one thing that snags me is the hat, because I'm always like, well, what did they wear in pre-hat days then? Are they recent? Was it the invention of the hat that brought them out?
These are generally decent questions. That's good scientific method right there.
Maybe there's like a weird branch of Australopithecine that just has hat hair that naturally grows out.
Listen, the Brimoids, the Brimwads, the
Forgotten Link.
Absolutely. That's it for my section, boyos.
What's your section called?
Mine was called Meet the Brimleys.
Smooth. Like this hint.
Mm-hmm. Now, is hint just, it has no bubbles, right?
It has no bubbles. That's why I'm drinking it. I can't drink Topo Chico yet.
I get it. It feels
so it's disgusting water, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like you're licking the outside of a watermelon.
It's not the worst watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the rind.
Yeah, it's still the rind. This isn't the this isn't the good part of it. This is rind watermelon flavored.
It's the sweat.
It's the sweat of the watermelon.